All right, welcome to the Anime Therapy Podcast, episode 6. I'm your host, Just Barely Alive. I hate that I do so often, but you know that's what happens when you're
ADHD.
not. Yeah, we'll blame it on the ADHD. There it is again. So I'm not good at improv. I don't do yes ands all the time. But anyways, welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Just Barely Alive. Episode 6. We have another wonderful guest, someone that I've known for just as long as the last guest, Skylar. No relation, just
None at all.
None at all. But known you for probably like 3, almost 4 years now. Kaylene, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, I have to ask, why Skylar? No, I'm kidding. Okay. Thank you for coming on. I'm really glad to have you both. One maybe more than the other, but I'm not gonna say who. And you know,
there you go.
this is what I've always wanted to do. It's one of my favorite things is to talk to other people about anime. There's always contested opinions. There's always opinions that we both agree on that make us both excited to then talk to that person. We learn things about each other, you know. And how about we just talk about some anime and how it makes us feel?
Love that.
Okay. Well, we're going to start this episode the way that we always start every episode. I would like to ask you, what was the first anime you ever watched knowing that it was anime and not Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Dragon Ball? And if you say Sailor Moon, I'm going to press X to doubt, but go ahead and...
Technically, Sailor Moon. Technically. I was watching Sailor Moon when I was like in elementary school.
Did you know it was
which is
anime,
surprising. I knew it was an anime because my mom called it an anime. And she had been watching it prior, which I was, again, surprised that she even let me watch it because I wasn't even allowed to watch Pokemon with her Christian values and stuff.
Yeah. Well, Pokemon is, animal abuse and slaving, under...
No, it was Pocket Monsters was the issue.
Oh, okay, yeah. But girls losing their clothes and transforming into new clothes. Totally fine.
Yeah, no, totally. But she told me it was anime, but it was actually my neighbors who introduced me more into anime, and it was actually Fruits Baskets.
Oh, okay.
That was kind of the start of everything.
Okay, and with Fruits Basket, how old were you with that?
I think I was in 5th grade.
Oh, wow. That's
so
early for a slice of life rom-com.
I had no idea what I was getting into when I like started it, and then I didn't even finish the anime when I first got into it. I didn't even finish the manga until probably a couple years ago.
Oh, wow.
I've never actually finished this. It's time.
Did you watch the remake of Fruits Basket?
I haven't. I want to because I did read the whole manga. But I always get concerned with reading and then watching something because if I really love the manga, I always feel like they're going to fuck it up with the anime.
Yeah.
Bleach is a prime example.
Yeah. Hey, right here I got the three volume books. It's 1 through 3, 4 through 6, and 7 through 9. And those I read before I even watched Bleach. But
yeah, I watched some of Bleach and then I read the manga and then I was like, I can't ever watch the anime ever again.
Yeah. I'm glad that we're starting off with such a passionate thing for me, which is Bleach was the best anime that was also the worst. Because just the manga was great. I mean, the very last page of volume 9 was when they get in the cannon in the Soul Society, they get in the cannon and shoot out to go over the wall.
Yeah.
And it ended there, and I was like, oh, I gotta see what happens, but I don't want to steal books from Barnes & Noble anymore, so I'm just gonna... just outing myself right now as a criminal. Black Clover, or I'm sorry, not Black Clover, Death Note. So when I started getting into anime, which was with Naruto, but I had already seen Naruto, didn't know it was an anime. I had already seen anime that I knew was anime, But this was Naruto was like, I'm getting into it. I'm gonna do a deep swan dive into the cesspool that is anime. And Death Note was, I want to say, the second or third anime I watched in my journey, like starting my journey. But I actually read and owned all the volumes of the manga of Death Note before I actually watched it.
Nice.
Not much was different. I mean, there were two main key differences, one of which was Light and L in the rain, and then him rubbing his foot was not even in the manga. That was just something that they created, but you know.
You're gonna get mad at me. I may know the storyline to Death Note, but I've actually never watched it.
Hey, it's totally fine. As long as you've watched Code Geass, then it's okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Because, to quote Matt for a second episode in a row, Death Note is shit compared to Code Geass. Yeah, and the other difference is that in the anime for Death Note, when Light, you said you read the manga?
No, I didn't actually read the manga.
Oh, so you haven't
No,
seen...
I have nothing to do with Death Note whatsoever.
Okay, so in Death Note, there is a time where the main character, Light, gives his Death Note to someone else. When that happens, he gives it to, like, some corporate chairman, right, for this big company. And in the manga, they do a lot more conversing and a lot more scenes with that group. And in the anime, they kind of cut it a little short.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is going to be good, though, because I know that you're the manga reader, and I just found out that Skylar has actually never even read manga. Yeah, it bothers me.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I've tried. I told him, like, okay, so since we're, like, you know, we have these big breaks between, like, animes that we're watching, let's just read the manga, you know, because I want to know what happens now. Like, I'm impatient. And he's like, no, I don't want to. And I was like, what do you mean you don't want to? And, like, I have manga books, but hasn't touched them. Yeah. He won't.
I do have to say, the first manga he mentioned that you had was Maximum Ride. A manga based off of an English book series.
Which is
one of my favorite book series of all time, by the way. I love Maximum
That's more of a comic book than it is a manga. It's, you know,
the influence is definitely manga, though. The influence is definitely manga, though.
Oh, yeah, completely. Yeah. But no, like, I have one of my favorite series, Blackbird.
Mm-hmm.
I have the first 2 volumes of Spy Family, which is basically the, like, first season of Spy Family for the anime.
The first
I used to have a lot more. The first like 12 episodes.
Okay, so the first, I was wondering if it was like the full first season.
No, like right, the last chapter in the second book is when they're at the aquarium.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Great point.
Which is my favorite scene.
Yeah. I personally love the dodgeball thing. I thought dodgeball was great. And the leading up to it where you're like with the groceries and
oh yeah,
fucking kicks ass. I love that.
I don't have more of the manga, but I've been reading it on like an app on my phone. So like I'm like way past like where they're at in the anime.
Yeah.
And I was already reading it when I found out it was going to become an anime, and I was like, fantastic.
Oh,
I'm so excited.
Nice.
Yeah.
I only knew of it because it was blowing up on in the anime sphere, if you will. Kind of like My Dress Up Darling, but I
was also reading that before it became an anime, and then I found out.
Yeah, I know plenty of people that were reading it before, and I only knew of My Dress Up Darling because, you know, I saw the clips, like episode 2, where she sits down on his little bed and the bazongas. And I was like, oh, this looks like a very good story anime. I'm gonna check it out. And then I watched it. There were only like 4 episodes out, and I watched it, and then I didn't pick it back up until there were 11 episodes out. So, yeah. And then I finished it, and gotta say, probably it's definitely in like my top 3 favorite slice of life animes. That, Bunny Girl Senpai.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, I would say My Little Monster, but it's been so long since I've watched My Little Monster that I definitely have to go back and rewatch it. But the impact that My Little Monster had on me was so great. Have you seen it?
Mm-mm.
So it's about a girl who is like top of her class. Like she's the smartest, she's top of her class. Except she's not. She's number 2. Because the person who is top of the class is a delinquent that skips school and never shows up. But somehow he keeps beating her in all of these academics, and it pisses her off. So she ends up meeting him and is like, you need to start going to school. That way I could feel justified in beating you in academics, but you just never show up for school, and it's pissing me off. And it's just kind of like their relationship. Like, she's very goody two-shoes. He's like, I don't like school. School sucks. Like, I'd rather be going and doing other things, but he's so smart that he keeps beating her in academics.
Yeah.
It's just like this little rivalry that they have. And it was one of the first slice of life that I had watched that had no extra fiction aspects as a part of it. Like, Eden of the East, I would say, is slice of life, but there's...
I love the East.
I love Eden of the East, too. Nobody on the podcast so far has really, I don't think, ever watched it. And I love it. I think it's... Oh, look at that cat. Looks so familiar. I think we saw that cat last episode.
Wow.
Cats. 3 episodes with cats in it. Nice. I love Eden of the East, and it's such a also another one of those, like, not a lot of people have seen it kind of shows, but I think people definitely should watch it.
I think it's got everything you need in an anime. It's got like the romance, the action, the comedy. Like, it's one of those ones that like holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah, and you've seen the movies too, I'm guessing. There are 2 movies.
I don't think I've seen the movies.
Okay. They are canon. They're continuations of the story.
Okay.
One of which was okay. The other was very, very good. But still, I when I get invested in a world, I don't care if the movies are good or not. I just want to watch them for that extra
Yeah,
content.
for the characters.
Yeah. Looking at you, Naruto, your movies are... I have a video coming out soon where I actually just watched all of the Naruto movies again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna rank them. I'm just gonna be like, dude, some of these...
I think I've only seen one, and I don't even remember which one it was, but...
Oh, do you want me to run down the list? And
God, no. No, I'm good.
Because I know them all.
No, I probably... I did not finish Naruto Shippuden. I dropped it somewhere right in the middle of the war, which was probably the worst place to stop because it gets, so action-pack filled. I know, like, things that happen afterwards, but I just, like, it got so repetitive and kind of, like, boring. And the same thing with, like, I was excited for Boruto. Like, I watched the movie first, and I was like, okay, that's cute. Like, I'm always down to see, like, continuations or, like, generations of characters that I've loved. And then, like, I got bored of it as well and, like, dropped it. Yeah. Watched, like, probably, like, 100 episodes or so, and I was like, and we're done.
Yeah, it's funny because 100 episodes in, and it's not even following the manga.
Of course.
Like, I want to say, like, 60-something episodes in is when they first do, like, the beginning of the manga. And then they do that as a little arc, and then they do more filler, and then it's whatever. I don't want to ruin your Naruto experience, but Hinata and Naruto get together and they have kids.
Wow, really?
That's who Boruto is.
So shocking.
Yeah. I still think that Sakura and Rock Lee should have gotten together, but that's just me.
He's just an interesting character.
Think about the child that they would have, though. If we talk about, like, how...
Strength-wise? Oh, yeah.
Like, power-wise, they would have 8 inner gates and 100 healing jutsu. So they would open the 8 inner gates and not die 100 times from it.
I never thought about that.
You know who has?
That's a very good point.
So, yeah, like, dude, it like, they could have... Sakura doesn't deserve... Or, I'm sorry. Sasuke doesn't deserve love, but that's just me. But I'm really enjoying the fact that we can also talk about manga, and a little bit more slice of life, because the last person that I talked, the last girl that I talked to about slice of life completely triggered me on the slice of lives that I watched because she said she hated Bunny Girl Senpai, and that just absolutely wrecked me.
It was so cute.
I absolutely loved Bunny Girl Senpai, and it's an interesting connection to a question that I'm going to ask you here in a second, but it's one that got recommended to me so much that I ended up loving, and the only negative aspect of Bunny Girl Senpai in my mind doesn't even ruin the show for me. It's just a personal, like, god damn it, you know, they didn't even kiss at the end.
Okay, that is always my pet peeve.
Yeah.
Like in romance, like they're leading up to the romance and it's blooming and you don't even see them kiss. And I'm like, what was the point?
It was leading up to that, and the very end they almost do and then they don't, and I'm like, motherfuckers, this is what I watched this for.
The meme of the flipping table.
Yeah, seriously. Or if we can reference Yu-Gi-Oh! GX real quick, you know, the table flip with the salsa with fucking Chun-Li's dad. All right. Anyways, I love Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a guilty pleasure of mine. Yeah. So speaking of which, let's move into that tangent I was talking about, which is, do you have an anime that was highly recommended to you that you ended up really liking, and an anime that was highly recommended to you that you ended up hating? Or strongly disliked if you don't feel that strongly.
Okay, well, I'll start with the dislike.
They always do.
I know. One Piece and JoJo. I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. I broke your heart. I know. I can't. I've tried One Piece and I just can't get into it. And JoJo, the animation fucking kills me. The like very eccentric clothing. I just can't. I just can't.
Oh my god. You know what? I'm not recording 2 episodes in one day anymore. It's too much disappointment for my heart.
No, sorry.
It's okay. Okay. One Piece I understand because it's hard for people to get into it because it's so long and it's so intimidating, and also I have fallen victim to this, but not as much as other people, but it does get very overhyped. I think that it is accurately rated, though. I think the people that have watched it all the way through and did like it, they accurately rate it. But they do overhype the show to people who haven't watched it, which is a big problem, because I don't want people to feel overhyped on it, because it does start off a little slow. But for those who use the argument it's too long and I don't have the time, read the manga. It is the highest selling manga of all time. Read the manga if you don't have the time to watch the anime, because reading is a lot quicker than watching all the episodes.
True, I've actually never thought about that.
Yeah, and you're a manga reader. Like, I told that to Skylar and I was like, just read the manga. And he's like, I don't read manga. I'm like, you mother... But... as far as JoJo's goes, I don't think anybody gets into it because they like the art style. I didn't like the art style, and that's why I didn't get into it for a while. But come on, it's sexy, muscular men with music references throughout the whole show.
I've watched bits and pieces of it with Skylar because he'll watch it, you know, and I'll be like in the room or whatever. And I'm just sitting there watching it. I'm like, what is even going on? Like, why?
That's the point. It's all just one big meme, and you just have to accept that you don't understand what's happening. The comedy is peak in that show, and I think that's what keeps people around, is that you have to have this suspension of disbelief of, like, none of this makes sense. Once you accept that none of it makes sense, and you just watch it for the ridiculousness that it is, it does draw you in. And eventually, you know, first season art style is... I mean, it sticks throughout the whole show, but it is also the first season, and, you know, the art style does change throughout the parts. Like, part 1 and part 2 are the same. Very similar to part 3. Part 4 changes quite a bit, and then part 5 changes from that. But I think it's hilarious that all the men love JoJo's when it's about muscular men in sexy poses, and all the girls are like, I don't understand the appeal. And it's like, it's sexy men in sexy poses. This is tailored for you.
Yeah.
I'm not biting my nail, I swear. Okay. What about an anime that you were recommended that you actually really liked? And you can name off a couple if you want.
Honestly, a lot of the animes I've watched were ones that like I watched on my own time. It's normally me recommending things to other people.
Yeah.
I barely get like recommendations because they come to me and they're like, "Have you seen it?" I was like, "Yep, I've seen it."
Yeah.
"Have you seen this one?" "Yeah, I've seen it."
Yeah. That's
Um,
fair.
yeah.
Which should limit actually your options, because I'm assuming that because of that, there's only a few that you've actually been recommended that you hadn't seen before. Like Cells at Work.
I mean, I guess it would be like when I first started anime, like my neighbors were super into it already.
Mm-hmm.
And they suggested Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had already watched the Full Metal Alchemist, and they're like, no, you need to watch Brotherhood. I was like, okay. So I went back and I watched Brotherhood. I was like, yeah, I really like this. Like,
Yeah.
That's probably one of my favorite things to like recommend to people is like to watch Brotherhood.
Yeah. I recommend original, but that's just me. I like original more than Brotherhood.
I like them both, but if you're gonna go based more like towards like the actual like storyline of what the author had wanted, then Brotherhood.
Yeah, and if you want to go for a storyline that actually makes sense, go for the original.
Yeah.
Because what the fuck? Just a random homunculus in a flask was like, or dwarf in a flask was like, I'm gonna split myself up into all these different. The original story actually tied in the fact that, and this is probably like the third or fourth time I've done this on the podcast, but with Full Metal Alchemist and Brotherhood, but they fucking took the reason why the story even exists and tied it in with why homunculus even exists. Human transmutation is forbidden, and it creates homunculus. And that's the whole reason why they're on their journey. And each homunculus has a backstory when they were created via human transmutation, which is the plot point of the story. I just thought that made so much more sense than there's just a random guy, Hohenheim or whatever. I don't know. And say what you will about the ending of original Full Metal Alchemist. The people that complain about it not being finished haven't watched the movie. There's a movie that finishes it.
Yeah.
And I own it. I have every single DVD and the movie for original right down there. And
the only movie or anime movies that I own, besides all of Hayao Miyazaki's movies, I own box sets of Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in metal little containers.
Hell
and it's like super cool.
Full Metal?
Brotherhood.
No, I mean like they're in Full Metal cases.
Oh, haha, yeah. Yes.
You need to leave.
All right. Well, how about we talk about something that I love talking about the most, which is husbandos and waifus. Because I know you have some husbandos and waifus, which, you know, it just bums me out knowing that not a single husbando is going to be from JoJo's, but it's okay. Hey, one of my favorite waifus is from JoJo's, and it's a man, and he's still a waifu. B-Wagon. Oh, that's okay. It's a cat. Hey, the other one made an appearance. Let's go. What's your hot take on anime, Moose?
Mochi.
I thought Mochi was the black one.
No, that's Moose.
All right, well, Skylar fucking told me wrong. I was like, the black one's Mochi, right? And he was like, yeah.
No, this is Mochi.
That's Mochi. Yeah, so husbandos and waifus. Let's just any that come to mind.
Rory from Gate is my first one.
Okay.
I freaking love her.
Never seen Gate.
She's just like, okay, so there's a lot of like CGI moments in it, which are kind of like, but like I love the whole like overall story. Mm-hmm. And for me, Rory kind of makes it because she's basically this like, she looks like a little girl, but she's like super old. She's like a demigod, and basically she's just like super sassy, like ready to kill, kind of psycho.
Yeah.
But I just like love her character.
I know of Gate. Gate's been around for a hot minute now.
Yeah.
But I never got around to it. as someone who is hosting an anime podcast, there's a lot that I haven't seen, and you should probably be hosting it because you've seen so many. You actually showed me my first Studio Ghibli movie that I hadn't seen in theaters, because before we watched Kiki's Delivery Service, I had seen all of them in theaters, but you have like all of them. And
I just have the Hayao Miyazaki one, so like Kiki's Delivery Service, and the last one that's in the box set that was the most recent was
Lupin?
No, not Lupin. It was God, what was the last one he made, and why is it escaping me right now?
It's not Castle in the Sky, is it? That's one of the first
No,
ones.
Castle in the Sky is one of them. No, it was the one with the airplanes.
Oh, Ponyo? Or not
No,
Ponyo,
not Ponyo.
Porco Rosso?
No, that's an older one too. No, this one was another one where
Porco
this guy
Rosso is
like
planes.
yeah, but
It's
he
bears,
doesn't create them. The one I'm thinking of, he creates like the guy's trying to create planes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'll throw it up here once we figure it out.
For the life of me, cannot remember the name of it right now.
It's all good. Yeah, I had watched 4 Ghibli movies for the first time in theaters, and that was like a big highlight of my life to me, which was I got to experience them on the big screen for the first time, which is why Spirited Away is my favorite one out of all of them. That was not only the first one that I saw, but I also saw it for its 15-year anniversary, like that,
Nice.
like on the day 15-year anniversary. And then I did the same with Princess Mononoke for its 20-year on the day, which I'm sorry to say, Princess Mononoke is number 4 out of the 4 for me.
You know what? It's okay. My list for those movies is a little odd, and people are like, "What's Porco Rosso?" And I was like, it hurts.
I saw the first 5 minutes of Porco Rosso, and I saw the last 5 minutes of Ponyo because I went to East Village Cafe in Encinitas, and you eat there, and on the TV it's just Ghibli movies. So I caught like the beginning and end of both of those, but I don't count those. But for me, it was Spirited Away, then Princess Mononoke, and then the next one I saw was Howl's Moving Castle, and then
that one's my favorite.
Yeah, that I mean Howl, yum.
Exactly.
Another yummy husbando. And then
Only when he's got the black hair, though. When he's blonde, yeah.
I don't know. I like the blonde Prince Charming look. I don't know. I'm biased. But and then Totoro, which I really liked. For me, it would go Spirited Away, Howl's, Totoro, and then Mononoke. But they're all good. Like I like all of them. It's just Mononoke. I don't know. It was good.
Sometimes I feel like you need to be on drugs for that one.
Yeah, which I don't do anymore. And at the time, I was stoned for all of them. That's kind of what drove me to go see them. I was like, yeah, hell yeah. I like anime. I haven't seen, probably the biggest impact of animation movies on the Western Hemisphere. I mean, Disney, sure, but like Spirited Away is still the only, I want to say, one of 2 animated movies that have actually ever won an Oscar. Don't quote me on that. It's one of the big Academy Awards. One of the big Academy Awards. Spirited Away was the first one to ever win one, and then I think A Silent Voice was the second one.
Again, I love that movie.
I think I told you when we all went out to dinner together that my girlfriend made me watch it, and we watched it together. She had already seen it, but I hadn't seen it, so she just wanted to watch me watch it, basically. And as someone who has been hearing impaired his whole life, god damn did that movie hit me hard. I was like, yo, I relate so hard to this.
I read the manga first, and then I think shortly after I finished that, it came out as an anime. Or it might have been an anime already, but either way, I read it first, and then I watched it, and I was like, the animation's beautiful. Like, the storyline keeps, and it's just, overall, it's just this beautiful story of, like, dealing with, like, being disabled.
Yeah, and I don't think I had been more verbal while watching an animated movie, because like throughout the whole thing, I'm like yelling at my screen, like, this guy's an asshole. He sucks. Fuck this guy. Oh my god, he's getting better. Oh my god, no, don't fucking spoiler alert. Don't jump off. Like, don't. Oh, he saved her. Oh god, and like, oh dude. Like, and then when he's in the hospital, I lost it. Because like they're apologizing to each other, they're arguing with each other, and then apologizing to each other, and then crying to each other, and I'm like, God damn. And I still haven't seen Your Name, but that's next one on my list to watch.
Okay, so Your Name, definitely. There's like, they made a couple different movies. They're coming out with a third one, I think, but they made another one after that called Weathering with You, where the characters from Your Name make a guest appearance very shortly in it. So it's kind of cute. But both Your Name and Weathering with You are great. The creator of Devilman Crybaby created this one called Ride Your Wave. Okay. And I cried through the entire thing. Like, I would never cry. Like, I was just sobbing the entire time. And when I thought I was done sobbing, I sobbed more. And I was like, I literally just couldn't stop crying. Yeah. Like, the story is just, like, without giving anything away, because I don't want to give anything away. It's just, like, beautiful. Like the idea and concept of it are beautiful, but it, like, the story is just so, like, heart-wrenching. Yeah. Yeah, and I have a hard time actually, like, letting that hit the surface for me. Like, I can sit there and not be affected by something but still take in what it's doing, but like with a silent voice, it just, I couldn't help it. Like, and I tried to fight it and I couldn't. Like, that is a sign of, like, wow, you really got a guy who never cries to fucking be a little baby, you know? Well, that's the thing I think with anime movies is they have made me more emotional than actual animes. Like, I've cried at animes, but, like, I think I've cried more at anime movies than I have anything. Let's real quick go back to husbando and waifus. You said I hold on. You said from Gate it was not Roy. What was it? Rory. Okay, I was very close. Have you watched Black Lagoon? Yes, I have. So Levy. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Everybody says that. I haven't even watched Black Lagoon, but I love Levy because, you know, goddamn. I don't know. Did you mention husbando other than Hal? I have not. And it has to be Hawks. From My Hero? Yeah. Oh God. I mean, respectably. He's great, but My Hero. I mean, as a character, he's very attractive. Yes. He's got charisma. He's a sexy man. Cool. He's one of the few figurines of guys that I have. Yeah. Will you ever get a figurine of your husband made? There's a website for that where you can get anime figurines made of people. It's pretty cool. Cool as that is, I'm good. Sorry, Skylar. I mean, you'll get it made, but you'll just put it behind all the other ones. Exactly. Yikes. Can't wait for him to see this episode. God. Yeah. So we've covered some good topics. Was there a moment in watching anime that really, like, changed the way that you viewed life? Like the way that you thought and the way that you progressed through life? Was there an anime or an anime moment that you recall that happening with? Because I have one of those. I might get emotional about this because I talked about this a bunch and I still get emotional about it. When I was in middle school, I was actually being bullied and got severely depressed, like had no emotion, like felt nothing. Nothing made me laugh, nothing made me happy. I spent a lot of time by myself and just kind of was like randomly started getting more into anime at that point. and realized while I was watching these animes, I was like feeling a lot of emotion. There was, and it's a silly little anime. It's a very kiddie, very girly, but it's called Mermaid Melody. It's basically Sailor Moon, but mermaids and singing.
Nice. You can't have mermaids without singing.
Exactly. So there was that one, and it just like the feelings that the main character was feeling. If she was crying, I was crying. If she felt happy and was laughing, I was happy and laughing. And then like I watched another one called Kitty Grade, which is like an obscure one that a lot of people don't know, but
I don't know.
There's the main character's name is Eclair, and she just kind of like had this confidence about herself that kind of like encouraged me to like gain more confidence in myself. So a lot of like animes during that like time of severe depression for me kind of helped me gain some of my emotions that I felt like I was lacking, brought a lot of that back. So, and I was able to basically get through, you know, life at that time without like doing any harm to myself, because I had something to look forward to, which was, you know, finishing my anime and starting a new one.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's the whole purpose of this podcast is, you know, it's literally therapy through anime, which I feel like that has been the overarching purpose of the podcast, is to show that anime has had such a great impact on humanity as a whole. And there are times where, you know, we get into those funks, right? Those like, we can't seem to get out of it. We don't know how to get out of it. We don't think that we ever will get out of it. And, you know, an anime comes along that really just changes the way that we view life and, you know, get through the hard times that we were going through. As far as like after I started getting into anime, I can't really recall anything that, I mean, there's an anime called Golden Kamuy, which I don't know if you know. So I
don't know that one.
It's a new season just actually started, but it was.
Oh, is it the one with the CGI bear?
In the first episode,
like really bad CGI bear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bad first episode, great show. I mean, the first episode's good. It's just the CGI bear was terrible. But that was the only time that happened, which was in the first episode. But that, I remember waking up from a nightmare, and this was the first time that a nightmare had actually affected me physically after waking up. Because I used to get nightmares all the time, but then I would be like, okay, turn the light on, right, sleep with the light on, or put on a show and then fall asleep again. But this, like, it was honestly one of the scariest things that I had gone through, because the nightmare wasn't even scary. It just was like so out of body and so like spiritually disturbing that when I woke up, I was like, God, that blew my mind. Holy crap. And then I went and put on a song that I had been listening to a lot at the time. And when I was listening to it, I was registering the song at 2x speed in real life. Like, I was experiencing the song sped up, and the song wasn't sped up. I was, and like, I was looking at the clock, and I was watching the minutes go by in what felt like 10 seconds. And it freaked me out so much. I legit like called a hotline, right? Not that I was going to do anything to myself, but I didn't know who else to call. And I was like, I'm just freaking out. This has never happened to me. And after getting off the phone with them, I went on Crunchyroll, and I had always known about Golden Kamuy just by its thumbnail, because it reminded me of JoJo so much, not by anything other than the fact that the main character wore purple and, I don't know, kind of looked like a JoJo art style a little bit. But I was like, I've always seen this, I've always wanted to watch it, fuck it, I'm just gonna watch it. I just need something to distract my brain. And I ended up watching like the entire first season, and it really took me away from the reality that I was living in, which I'm not condoning escaping reality through unhealthy means, but that really got me away from my freak out that I was going through. Like, I just it was an experience that I'd never had before. Other than that, the first anime I ever watched knowing that it was anime changed my life forever. Not because, oh, this is anime, it's because Fooly Cooly was the first anime I ever watched, and it was 6 episodes long. It was the first anime. Not only did I know it was anime, but it was also the first one I finished because it was only 6 episodes. But it was also about a 6th grader boy who was going through the experience of like girls and growing up and being forced to mature way quicker than he should have. And I was in like 4th or 5th grade, and I was also maturing way faster than I should have because of my own family trauma and my past. And I mean, that was the anime that got me to realize that I liked girls, and I like felt that like, whoa, what is this, you know, like girls, ooh, actually, you know, like. And the main girl had pink hair, so that's the reason why I like pink-haired anime girls now over all the other ones. So yeah, I like that, you know, Hollywood movies and TV don't do what anime do, you know? Like,
I know.
I can sit down and watch a movie that changes my life, but not in a way of personal growth, just more in a way of like, oh, I want to create something, right? Regular Western media makes me want to create things, where Japanese media makes me actually want to change as a person.
Yeah.
And that's why we love anime. And that's why it's our therapy.
Yes. It's definitely a therapy.
Yeah. Wow, that got really deep. But yeah, how about we you want to move on to the top 5? You want to get into
I need to run to the bathroom though.
Yeah, go ahead. All right, let's jump into this top 5. I'm excited to see what you have for me. Let's start with number 5.
Okay.
Would number 5, real quick, would number 5 be the hardest choice or the easiest choice?
Probably the easiest choice.
Okay.
Actually, no, none of this is easy because I've watched so much anime that like trying to choose just 5 is like impossible.
I gave you 4 weeks of preparation.
And you know what I did? I wrote down the top, like I wrote by comedy, or like I wrote my favorite comedy, I wrote my favorite animation, action. I was like, I'll do it by category because that makes it a little easier.
Oh, we also never talked about Orski. You're the only other person that I've watched, or that
is on my list for comedies.
Yeah, I love Orski. It's so good. So
my
fun.
Favorite character is the bench.
Yes, yes, the greatest character in that anime.
Yeah, comedy-wise, that would be one of them. Though that ties with Konosuba, and there was a recent one that I watched. It's got a ridiculous title, but basically it's hard to be a mob character in an Emoto game. Just those 3 are just freaking hilarious. If I had to choose one for comedy though, Konosuba.
Here's the thing, I would put Cautious Hero above Konosuba for me personally.
Cautious Hero was very good.
Yeah, because my type of humor isn't word based; it's action based. So like, yeah. I laugh due to like slapstick, like action. So like when he destroys a level 1 slime with his strongest ability, right, fully buffed up, that makes me laugh. When he slaps a girl right in her face for just being ridiculous, like, not that domestic violence is funny, but because in that moment she's like going crazy and he's just like, get back to reality, slap, you know.
Yeah.
Where Konosuba, the humor is very much lined in with what they say and how they react to things.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get to this number 5.
Okay. If I had to choose one, it'd be Noragami.
Ooh, one of the best openings in anime of all time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is so good.
What is it? Something cigarettes. It's the band that does I wanna hold your hand. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
So good.
They
I just
love
cigarettes. Sorry.
From the animation to the storyline to like the character development, just everything about it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And it was one that I think I suggested to Skylar at one point. And definitely one that I suggest to other people too.
First volume of the manga right here. It's a good one. I actually sat down and watched all of it in like 2 days, 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be my favorite, but like it was something that was really good to just watch that I had never seen, and I do love the idea that he's like, what would you call him? Like not a Shinigami, but like a god, a spirit.
Yeah,
like,
something. They call themselves God, so
yeah. So his whole thing is that like he's a god for hire, right? Like he like, but he's struggling. He's struggle bussing, right? Yeah. I like Noragami. That's definitely a unique pick for top 5. Definitely not one that anyone else has picked.
It holds like a special place in my heart, and it's one of those ones that like I constantly think about.
Mm-hmm. His relationship with his sword is that
and I think that's the other part I love about it, is just like there's all these like different like relationship things going on. I also have a thing for like useless main characters. Like when they act useless and kind of like, or like really sadistic, and they're like guys, I just love it. It makes it so much better.
I was gonna say that makes sense why you like Konosuba, because Aqua is absolutely useless.
But yeah, the whole overall anime was just fantastic.
Yeah, I like Noragami. It's definitely one that I don't think it's popular, but it's not talked about enough. Not enough people talk about Noragami.
Yeah,
I like it. Respect it. Hell yeah, a good one. Oh, wasn't it? I respect. Didn't expect. I did not expect it. All right, let's get on to number 4 then, because that one was easy. That wasn't even like, that didn't even feel like a band-aid being ripped off.
I'm looking at, so there's the website My Anime List, and you can choose like your top 10 like anime and manga and characters and stuff, and I'm like looking at my list and I'm like, okay, what's it?
Is this the hardest decision you've ever made in life?
Yes. Anytime anybody ever asks me, I'm like, you can't ask me that. It's just not possible.
Which is why I'm surprised that you agreed to do this, because you've told me so many times that it's so hard to do.
But I love talking about anime, and anime is therapy, so
yeah. Hey, she said it. Let's go.
I'd have to say it's gonna be another obscure one. Amage Brilliant Park.
Never even heard of it.
Basically it's this guy who's like this like failing actor, and he ends up at this like magical park that's like failing. He's like, I'm basically gonna help you get it back together. And so it's basically just like a comedy. It's straight comedies. It's hilarious. The main character is very full of himself. Goes in a mirror and being like, yes, I'm so beautiful.
I don't know why, but kind of makes me think of Regular Show, because they all work at a park.
Yeah. It kind of.
Magical shit happens.
Yeah, it's just like so many little different things happen, and it's just really funny. And one of the ones that I like really enjoyed.
Cool. I have to say this all the time, but I apologize for not knowing the anime, because I want to give time to talk about the animes that are in the top 5 list, each and every one of them. And when I don't know something, it's very hard, because it's like, okay, I have to think of something that sounds like it and then talk about that, right? But then, that takes away from the actual positioned anime. Yeah, I'll have to check it out, and you'll need to text me the title of it, because it kind of, the hearing thing was like, I caught some of it, but didn't catch all of it.
No worries.
But a magical park with a narcissistic actor. I like it.
Yes.
Unique. To say
Yeah, it definitely was cute. One of the characters looks like the mascot. I don't know if you've ever seen God, it's not Full Metal Alchemist, it's the other Full Metal one.
Oh, Full Metal Panic.
Yes, yeah. The like mouse character that they have as a mascot is basically a mascot in this anime.
Oh, okay, hell yeah.
And I don't know if it's by the same person. I never looked it up, but I just still like was part of the reason I think I was drawn to it so much because I loved Full Metal Panic.
Mm-hmm.
So
first mention of that show on the whole podcast. Nobody ever talks about Full Metal Panic.
I love Full Metal Panic. I've watched all of it.
I've never seen it. I just every time I type in Full Metal to watch Alchemist, I see Panic, and it's just like, why are you doing this to me?
It's a very like cutesy, like action-packed comedy that like gets very dark and serious at one point, and you're like, damn, that took a fucking turn.
Yeah, I mean, of all the anime YouTubers that I watch, a lot of them do talk about Full Metal Panic, but they also talk about it as if they're the first one to talk about it. But not me throwing shade. Let's move on. Number 3. See, every single time we move on, I can see on you that you're just like getting harder and harder.
Yeah, I know what my number 1's gonna be because it's animation-wise my favorite, but as we're going on, okay, I have to choose between the two. One's gonna go in the other's place. Dress Up Darling. I loved Dress Up Darling.
Yes.
Yeah, it stayed so true to the manga, and I like appreciated that because again, I read the manga first.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's got its little spicy parts, you know, but like it's like cute romancy parts, and it's just animation-wise is also gorgeous.
Yes, I really liked my Dress Up Darling. It was also the first one that like I used to watch anime all the time, and I used to watch new anime that was coming out weekly, and then I stopped for like a year or so, and I wasn't watching anything new, and then my Dress Up Darling came out, and everybody was talking about it, and that was the first one that got me back into watching like an anime that wasn't done yet, right? That was still coming out.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that I did because it had similar moments like with Horimiya, where it's like they're so cute together. I just want this to happen, you know. And I'm
gonna make you upset. I'm in chapter like 80 something of the manga, and they still have not kissed.
Damn, that really bums me out. I really wish that would happen like next season. Damn it!
I know, but their romance is blossoming and it's cute. It's still cute.
But I mean, they even say the "I love you" thing, like with the late night text where she's falling asleep and or like the late night where they're like both in bed.
It gets cuter.
Yeah. Oh, I can't imagine. How could it get any cuter? I mean, she's great. I do know her name. It's slipping my mind right now.
Mine.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's a name that I recognize from something else, which is Dragon Ball Marin. But yeah, hell yeah, I love that choice. Number 3, my Dress Up Darling. That you should take pride in that being there, because I think 3 is a good spot for it. If it was 2, I'd be like, you know, I understand, but also there's gotta be other ones, right? Because like it's so new, right? And
yeah,
because this is anime specific, although I do love talking about manga, because manga's better than anime.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Okay, before we move on, please tell me that Fairy Tail isn't on this list. Just tell me.
No. Which, oddly enough, okay. Speaking of Fairy Tail, I did finish it all. I watched all episodes.
Since we went to dinner?
Yeah, no, I finished it way before that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I told you at dinner that I was like watching it and that I just finished it because I was talking shit on it. And...
No, the interesting thing about Fairy Tail is that I started watching it when I was still living with my mom at the time. And my mom is
not the mom that you have now, just the mom that you had at the time.
Yes, mom. When I lived with my mom at the time, I was watching anime and she would come in and like be like, "Oh, what are you watching?" And I was watching Fairy Tail at the time and she was like, "Oh, this is cool. This is interesting." She's like, "Oh, that's a very interesting outfit."
Very provocative, like, yeah.
But the thing is, she picked it up and watched it on her own. And like she would be like, "Oh yeah, I just finished Fairy Tail," and I was like, "You watched all of Fairy Tail?"
Yeah. How hard was it for you? No, I'm kidding. I have my own bias against it, but I bring up Fairy Tail in almost every episode, and I need to not do that. But yeah, My Dress Up Darling is a good spot for number 3, especially as far as like as much anime as you watched. I don't know, maybe it's recency bias, but also anti-recency bias that I would feel like because it's new, it shouldn't be number 2 or number 1, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it also gets contradicted because if a new anime comes out that's number 1, right? Like that's understandable. So, but yeah, I like it. I like the list so far. You want to move on to you want to move on to number 2?
Okay. Number 2 is going to be To Your Eternity.
To Your Eternity.
To Your Eternity.
Okay. Another one I've never heard of.
Honestly, it's really, 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 really good. It's one that actually my boss had watched too, so we spent a lot of time talking about it when I'm at work. And it's basically just like about character development. You're basically watching this person, or saying really, go through life and figure out how to deal with emotions and loss, and like just trying to like navigate through that. And like it's just, a lot of it is very heart-wrenching because you're like, man, that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But animation wise, it's gorgeous. Storyline, it's great. It's definitely one of the ones that like I highly suggest to like everybody. Because it's not like one of those ones where like, you know, nobody's watched anime before and they suggest Kill la Kill. I'm like, you're dumb. Don't watch that. If you're gonna watch something,
you should watch is like Full Metal or Death Note or you know, things that people actually.
This is one of those ones that is like highly recommended. Like recommend to watch this first.
Oh wow, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
One that I've never heard, but it's a starter.
It's got like it's just emotional based. It's got like no real perversion in it. It's, you know, it's not gonna like be like, this is anime.
No perversion? What the fuck? Not my kind of show. But it's very
like, if we're talking about perversion, it's very twisted in that kind of sense.
Okay.
It's very dark, but it's also very like got these moments of light, happy feelings, and then it destroys everything you feel.
Yeah. Damn. Builds you up and then breaks you down.
Yeah, and their second season is coming out on the 23rd, I think. So
nice.
Super excited for that.
Hell yeah. And I'm guessing you've read it all?
Mm-mm. This is one I haven't read.
Oh, okay. So you must be pretty excited for that then.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
On my anime list, you can track all like the episodes and stuff. And they like split it up by season, so they count each like season as like a different anime.
Mm-hmm.
But episode wise, this is including animes I've dropped, animes that I've seen all the way through. It has me, and this is not fully updated because I started a bunch of new ones for the like new season that's come out.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched 6,740 different episodes of anime.
Holy shit. I kind of want to guess what number 1 is, actually, based off of that. Is it Gintama?
No.
Okay, alright. Because that's a comedy.
No. I've actually never seen any of it. I really want to watch it because it looks really funny.
I do too.
My number 1 is Violet Evergarden.
Oh, alright. Okay.
I am in love with that animation. Like,
they
just do it like so beautifully. Like everything about it is just gorgeous. I I'm at a loss for words because it's just so
speechless. Yeah, I mean, the art style is absolutely beautiful. I can agree with that. Violet Evergarden is the storytelling of Violet Evergarden is not a pace that I'm used to because I'm a shonen guy, so I like action, I like fast pace. That's why it's always hard for me to watch slice of life and romance because something doesn't actually happen in the first episode. Kind of hard for me to watch. Violet Evergarden, unfortunately, I'm sorry, but I did drop it, but I did watch like 4 or 5 episodes. And
okay, but the thing is that it has movies afterwards too, and you have to watch that because the movies finish out the whole like story.
Well, it was too slow for me, but of the episodes that I watched, I did really enjoy not only the art style, but I was also invested. I was like, oh, you know, like her, and all the top 5 anime lists are going to have spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers, then don't watch the most important part of the episode, I guess. But her delusion, like the fact that she doesn't accept the truth of like her superior dying, basically in her arms, almost, or in her stubs.
You suck.
That was like no animes had really like tackled the aspect of mental trauma and like mental I guess what's the term? It's not mental disability, it's just like the mental trauma of like
PTSD.
The delusion, that's the word I was looking for. The mental delusion of like, yeah, and PTSD. I mean, we've seen PTSD, but like we hadn't seen really like delusion and lack of acceptance to mental trauma like we did with Violet Evergarden. And even though I dropped it, it's just because it was so slow and it was hard for me to like get back into it. What I did watch, I did really, really, really enjoy. And I love that she has to like go through classes to like get better at writing letters, and her like her screen, her invisible screen of like not reading emotions and responding properly was very entertaining to me. And yeah, and the
or just bluntness because she doesn't understand.
Yeah, and being I mean, she was military, and you know she and I gotta say, the woman that ran the letter writing department or whatever, you know,
the one in the red dress.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Woo! Shit. I mean, I should have kept watching just for her, but yeah. Wow, I like this. I mean, go ahead. I mean, if there's anything else you want to say about Violet Evergarden.
For me, it was really like, again, it was a very emotional story that had beautiful animation. Something that I couldn't take my eyes off of. And I'm very big on animation. You know, I'm super into doing art myself. Mm-hmm. And so when it's that beautiful, I just can't help but like want to finish it like right then and there. And then when they came out with the movies and it finished the story out and it like had a great ending like it did, it's something that like I will probably rewatch again.
I have a hard time watching new animes because when they come out, there's no dub. So like I have to sit there and watch and not do anything else. And then watching the next episode is like, damn, that was a lot of time to focus.
Yeah. For me, it's kind of more like in my free time because, you know, I go to school and I work. And I don't really get a ton of time. Oh, yes, that's what it is. No, I'm constantly busy. Like on my lunch, I'll watch like a couple episodes of anime if I can. And then like I come home, eat dinner, and Skylar and I will watch like an episode or two before going to bed of like some anime. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like anime is such an important part of my life, and like not being able to like have much time to do it. I'm like trying to like squeeze in as much as I
Yeah.
can, you know.
Yeah.
And so like I'm kind of willing to watch kind of whatever, and like start new ones. Like this, all the ones that are coming out like this month have been great so far.
Yeah. I think this has been the best month of the year for anime for sure.
Oh yeah. 100%.
And there's a lot that I need to catch up on. Like I haven't even started
Yeah.
Spy Family Part 2. I haven't watched. I just watched Chainsaw Man. I already read Chainsaw Man, but I just watched the first episode last night. But there's I mean, I just talked about it last episode, but one that I didn't mention that I actually really liked that just started up again was Uzaki-chan Wants to Hang Out. I really like that one. I know a lot of people were annoyed by Uzaki, but I liked it. I thought it was very
like
relatable.
People being annoyed by Austin Black Clover.
Yeah, if you're annoyed by his voice, just read the fucking manga, okay? Goddamn. All right, and dude, my rants are just repetitive, and they just get worse and worse. But yeah, I did relate to the main character being like a loner, and like this character just annoying him by wanting to hang out, which is so wholesome, but also like I relate because it's like I don't want to hang out. I just want to go do my own thing, watch movies alone, right?
Yeah.
Well, good. Are you happy with this top 5 list? Like, are you glad that you ripped that Band-Aid off?
No.
You want to put it back on?
No, because I feel like I'll always come, like, new anime is always coming out. There's plenty of things I haven't seen. I definitely think something will eventually take something's spot, you know?
Yeah. It's always ever changing.
Yeah, it's always ever changing. It's, especially with how much anime that I've watched, it's hard to choose a favorite. And it's hard to choose, like, you know, if I had to choose like per category, it's a little easier.
Yeah.
But like choosing just the top 5 is like more of like a challenge.
And I like putting people in those situations where they have to choose. Well, and now it's solidified. It's been immortalized that these are your top 5, so you have to deal with that forever.
Right.
All right, let's move on to our outro, and then we can get out of here and probably eat some dinner because I haven't eaten dinner, but I smell it. Kaylene, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so glad that I got 2 friends that I've known for a while that, you know, a lot of our experiences is talking about anime and not, you know, real life, because it gets real sad when I start talking about real life. So thank you again for being on here, and you don't have any plugs to give, but if you want to say anything to Kaylene about her takes or her top 5, you can shove it up your ass because it's all good, you know. This was very hard for her to do because she loves anime so much. So
very hard.
Why don't we move into the hot take, shall we?
Okay. I hate Attack on Titan.